Now, how to use the if, COUNTIF, SUMIF to find out the data that we want. If we have a look at this data here, first thing I want to know is the maximum person for Tai Pans. So this section here I'll just look at. So Tai Pans, test 1, test 2, test 3, maximum, the person with the maximum, a minimum, and the average. And there's just a space there we'll see you later on. Now, anytime I'm starting with the data, and there's a lot of data in here, what I'm going to do is I need to start with a little part of it so I can always check in my head. I'm just going to come up here and freeze that pane so that as I scroll, the title stay at the top so I can see what's going on. I'm just going to work with these bottom bits of data down here. So the last 10 rows and just the first test, let me just highlight them in yellow. So you can see that's the only data I'm going to play with because it's easy for me to check. It's easy to change the range afterwards. So first up, if I want to get the average of the team, what team was it? It's Tai Pans. So I want to know what the average of the Tai Pans is. First I need to know how many Tai Pans there were and then what their score was. So I could use my COUNTIF formula. So I can use my COUNTIF to count how many Tai Pans there are. So let's have a look at how I do that. So in this cell here, I just put a type. I'm just going to Tai Pans, I know what I'm doing. Into here equals COUNTIF, the range, so just this range here, comma, Tai Pans. Close the brackets. So there's only 2 Tai Pans in this bottom 10. Okay, that's simple enough. So I want to, for test number 1, I want to know what their score was. So equals count, oops, not count, equals SUMIF. SUMIF in this range here in the names is Tai Pans. Add up the value for the Tai Pans in here. Now doing Tai Pans makes it very easy because I know there's only 2. So let me just highlight those 2 so we can see what we're talking about here. Tai Pans and Tai Pans. So even in my mind, I can figure out that 19 plus 19 equals 38. So that seems to be working. Okay, the next thing I want to do, what would be the average for that? Okay, so the average for Tai Pans would simply be, that's going to be good if I put that over there. Let me put the Tai Pans average here and simply equal this result divided by this result. And we know it's 19. Once again, I've set this data up so it's easy to see because if both people got 19, the average is 19. So that's my check going really, really well. Okay, so if I just put some, that's the average. This one here is the count, and this one here is the sum. Should say SUMIF, I guess. And COUNTIF. So if I now wish to do the next one, which is Crocs. So let's have a look. Equals COUNTIF. So COUNTIF the range, this range here, and the criteria. Well, I could type in Crocs again. I just click on Crocs here. Close it, and there we go. Now there's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Working with small data, I can always check. Okay. So this one here equals SUMIF, my range, if this, comma, is equal to this, comma, the range to sum up is these. Now, a little bit harder to do. So Crocs, there is larger numbers. So in my head, it's going to be a little harder to add things up. But you can simply see if I wanted to go through and double check again, which is always a good thing to do, I can say these are my Crocs. And if I add up 24 plus 9, so I've got 33, 46, 46, 50, 46, 52, 52 plus 18 is 70. There we go. I'm even able to add that up and check. And we can now do the average, which simply equals whatever the score is divided by how many people there were. And I'm going through and doing it. Now you can continue doing this for the other two tests. You can continue doing this for the other teams. Once I've finished, it's quite a simple thing to say, well, you know what? I actually know that it really starts at row number 2. And so there's 53, and the same here, this actually starts at row number 2, at row number 2. So we can see that there's 53 Tai Pans, total score of that, so their average is actually 14. So I can change that. So starting off with a small number, so I can check, and ending up just adapting it, making sure I adapt both of them. Whoops, forgot to say the sum range as well.